I was watching this video while I was at the gym, and because when I go work out, do my reps today, I was doing like flies. What was I doing? Flies, triceps, and then like upright rows. So I did a little workout, and then I came into this. I was watching this while I was working out, and they were talking about immigration. It was Dave Smith and this other guy, Alex Now Roste, and they were speaking on the value of immigration from a libertarian lens, and it was fascinating. So I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this on stream. So we're here, and we're talking about it.
Immigration is a government program. It only exists because of the government, but we can't liberalize.
I'm not watching all of it because I already watched most of it.
Too many people will come. Which is it?
That's not having it both ways. The point is that I'm saying it's a government program.
It's not a government program any more than free trade is.
That's not true. And here's the crucial difference.
It's not anymore.
Hold on one second, Alex. Here's the crucial difference between free trade. And it does seem, I don't know if you guys are.
We'll start from the Q there.
Thank you, Alex. Before we move to the Q&A portion of the evening, that will involve three different kinds of Q&A. The audience will get a chance to ask questions. That will come a bit later. Each of the debaters will get a chance to ask each other a question. I'm going to exercise moderator's prerogative just initially to toss a couple of questions at our debaters. First, again, a point of clarification that I want to make clear. I am aware of the Fraser Institute's Economic Freedom Index, and only one of the criteria is government share of GDP. The other criteria have to do with rule of law, for example, with measurement of regulation, with other aspects that are non-budgetary about economic freedom. Do I understand you correctly to say, Alex, that you took those into account and that Davis making a factual mistake in thinking that you only took government as a share of GDP? Is that correct?
That's correct. We looked at all these different measurements separately in numerous different analyses, including the book that I mentioned with Benjamin Powell and lots of other papers. We also looked at public opinion. We looked at numerous on public policy issues. So we looked at all of these different measures. Yes.
And a comment from you, Dave.
Well, I didn't say that was the only measure. I said I've seen Alex use this measure before. But so are you telling me that the government we have today is substantially smaller than the government in 1960?
No, my claim was that it has grown a lot more slowly since then. So the period of time when it grew the fastest was from about 1930 to the late 60s, and then it slowed down. And my theory for why immigration causes that is that immigration kills labor unions, and labor unions are the most successful progressive organization that lobbies and pushes for big government.
Oh, Dave, I just want to challenge you then. I'm familiar with the Economic Freedom Index of the Fraser Institute, Cato, and it was increasing from 1970 to.
I want to preface this, even though I'm watching this, I do think I understand people's point of view and arguments. I find valuable to really dissect their perspective on different talking points. I'm not libertarian at all. I do believe the government is important, very important, in terms of ensuring that people have a certain level of like equality, at the very least, equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome, and provides a certain like basic necessities in the pursuit of liberty, joy. So I do think the government has an important role. Most libertarians don't. They say it's stay out of my business, from my understanding. So I just want to preface that.
2000, it's still at highs. So if he did use a broad-based economic freedom index, and if it does tend to correlate over the last 50 years with the increase in immigration, would you agree then that there is some connection, that it's not just government? Would you agree with that, or do you still challenge it?
Agree that there's a connection what? Between immigration and
a coincidence, at least. Economic Freedom Index, broadly defined, including all 5 criteria, only one of which is government, increased from 1970 to 2000, and is now sort of plateaued. So economic freedom generally has increased. Deregulation of various industries, all of that stuff. Would you concede then that there's some coincidence? You're not granting correlation, but definitely a coincidence.
No, I mean, I don't think I would. I think that it's sometimes, really smart people and really good scientists can overestimate how much.
Invasion is not immigration. Invasion is evasion. Yeah, I agree. Immigration is definitely not an invasion.
science can really understand, and it's very difficult to measure how free exactly you think a society is.
Okay.
The size and scope of government has gotten dramatically bigger in that time period. If Alex wants to argue that it wasn't quite as rapid, I would probably, maybe he's right about that. I mean, obviously World War II has got to be the biggest, most dramatic expansion of, the pure power of the U.S. government. But no, that really none of that's.
So basically, what I'm gathering, the argument here is being a libertarian. Of course, you want smaller government, in particular the federal government. What the other guy's arguing, his name's Alex. What he's arguing is that immigration provided an outlet to limit the growth of government and push the growth of free market economies. So especially like privatized economies, or privatized or just privatized, like private businesses flourishing in a free market economy. That's what I'm trying to say. And the only time that wasn't the case, when there was like less immigration, was during the 1930s to 1960s, is what they're saying, was Alex is saying. So if you're a libertarian, you would see that there's an interesting correlation with the increase of immigration. Now he's arguing because of the increased amount of immigration that affected labor unions, because they were able to mitigate the loss of workers, really minimizing the use and power of unions, trying to enforce more control from the government, or trying to empower more control from the government to be involved to, do certain work stipulations, all that. So immigration allowed these businesses to flourish. Therefore, in the last, since the 1960s, the government has slowed dramatically and the economy has grown and become more free at the same period of time, is my understanding of his argument. So yeah, if you're libertarian, if you agree with that argument, then you would have to say immigration is more pro-libertarian based off that point in it itself. I'm one of those people. I am all for people coming to this country. I don't block white, Puerto Rican, or Asian. I don't care, but there's a right way to come here. If you sneak in, you get out. I agree. You can't sneak in. I'm there with you. You have to come through the process. Not small government, just efficient, non-corrupted government. I'm talking about for libertarians. Libertarians want small government. That's just like what they want. I don't know. Not gonna lie, Puerto Rico 51st state, right? Why don't we just make Puerto Rico 51st state? Even though my state was the 50th state, I'm fine with one making a big 5-1. People who did it the right way are getting arrested too. I agree to that. I'm just speaking in generalities. What is going on right now in society is not indicative of the the narratives that were created to go after immigrants. They're arresting U.S. citizens. They're arresting people who did it the right way, all that stuff. Seeking into this country is not the right way. You wait your turn. You wait in line like everyone else. If not, you get a foot in the ass at the door. Yeah, that's always been the case. Biden, Obama, anybody who came in without going through any process, they were kicked out. Now, there's a perception from people on the right that there are other people that they're kind of going after are people who just snuck in. That's just not true, because in order for the Trump admin to locate and find these people, they would have to be in the system so you can locate them. So they are. Typically what happens is that they are in the system, they're under some type of status or awaiting some type of legal process, but like you said, they're waiting in line because this process is so goddamn slow. People are waiting for the courts to kind of hear them out and them having their hearing, and it takes years to do all the paperwork and all the bullshit. So it just takes a long fucking time, but these people who are waiting are the ones getting kicked out. And they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing.
The point anyway.
But you don't see deregulation of airlines, deregulation of trucking, deregulation of finance, a lot of movement toward economic freedom that occurred over this period that had nothing to do with.
Is this live? I am a live individual.
Things occurred over that period.
Okay, sure. Just a question. Not important. Sorry to belabor it. Alex, Milton Friedman has famously said, you can have a welfare state or you can have free immigration, but you
Tired of fake political streams. Is that a thing? Is fake political streams a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. How do you do a fake political stream? Tell me. Wake me up. Wake me up. Look, I'm not trying to sound prejudiced, but you line up 100 people just to have them look at them, or you look at them and you tell them which ones are here to live in the system or here to contribute. Tell me which ones are going to do which. I can't tell by looking at them, so everyone has to be checked. I mean, I agree with you. Everyone should be checked. I am not pro come in the country without checks. That's not me. Tired of nice. I'm gonna let them in, but keep them within 50 feet to a mile of the border until they are approved. I don't know. Like sometimes this stuff takes years. So you're gonna keep them in like a designated bubble around the border. At that point, it's just gonna crowd the border, and it's not really gonna help anybody. So I don't know if that's the best use. So left or right, what are you? I am purple, so I consider myself in the center. But if you want a very concrete viewpoint from me, I hate MAGA and I hate the far left. So there you go. If it takes years, it takes years, but you wait your turn because everyone has to do it. Yeah, everybody has to wait. I'm there with you. Twitch is a commie fuck fest. Yeah, fucking the Hassan types. Get the fuck out of here, boy. I have Hispanic neighbors and they hate people from their own country that sneak to their. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, Joseph. I understand your sentiment. I just want us to like understand that these people that you dislike and the people you're referring that they dislike, these people do get kicked out. They've been getting kicked out in every administration. And these are not the people that the current administration's going after. They're putting kids with protected status, detention status. Facts. Like, that's just true. Long gone. Base streamer be base. MAGA retards, so are commies. Hey, we're one of the same. We locked in, boy. We locked in. We do not rock with those. Right-leaning, pragmatic, independent, love being one and would rather die than not being one. Too aggressive. No, you're good, Austin, but you're still young. You have plenty of life to live to figure out your principles. Get out there, talk to people, live the life, and then you figure out like who you are truly.
Can't have both. What do you say to that statement?
So the next line in that quote by Friedman is always forgotten. That's why Friedman supports illegal immigration, because they don't have access to the welfare state. And I think what we need to take a look at here is Friedman is making an empirical claim.
So they make an
immigration by Friedman is.
What do you say to that statement? You can't have both. A welfare state, or you can have free immigration, has famously said. You're gonna believe it, Alex. Milton Friedman has famously said, you can have a welfare state, or you can have free immigration, but you can't have both. What do you say to that statement?
So the next line in that quote by Friedman is always forgotten. That's why Friedman supports illegal immigration, because they don't have access to the welfare state. And I think what we need to take a look at here is Friedman is making an empirical claim that immigrants use a ton of welfare, that more people are going to come. As a result of this, it's going to bankrupt the country and fleece the taxpayers. And that may have been true when Friedman said that. The evidence is it's absolutely not true now. And even if it is easier to build a higher wall around welfare than it is to build one around the country, and certainly more libertarian. Welfare.
Interesting. I'll dive into that statement in a second. Do you think it's funny seeing brown and red shirts come to power again? Brown and red shirts. What do you mean by that? I'm not familiar with this terminology. Find it ironic in a certain aspect. Some of our welfare states are along the border. Every state has welfare. Every state has welfare. What do I support? Everything that Trump does? Hell no. Did I vote for him? Yes, but I don't exactly support everything he's doing at the same time. Hey, I've had plenty of people who call themselves MAGA, call themselves Trump supporters in my stream. I've talked to all of them. Somehow they stayed. Somehow they subscribed to the channel. I'm not going to be nice if I think your ideas are shit. But I will say, like, I'm empathetic to the idea you thought this guy was going to fix the country. But yeah, you can see like all the problematic things he's doing. And I've always said I'm pro immigration. I think objectively it helps the economy, and I think it's a good thing for the United States. But I think it's fine to be anti illegal immigration, like real illegal immigration. I think it's fine to want criminals out. That's what Obama did. That's what Biden did. And I think it's fine to criticize Biden. He should have been more strict after Donald Trump's Title 42 or Title 9 was over, where a bunch of immigrants started taking advantage of the asylum process. And he should have immediately remediated it by adding way more judges and streamlining the process so we can get people in quicker. Like, there are things that could have happened that should have happened. But yeah. Overall, I do think a lot of the immigration stuff has become a red herring to demonize a group of people, because it's easy to look at everywhere else at what the problem is versus looking up where all those elites up there that are taking advantage of you. Yeah, they're the ones laughing in your face. Brown shirts were Hitler fanatics who did his bidding. Oh, beautiful for joining your retard, but also for others. Brown shirts are okay. Did not know what they were called that. Except anyone from any other nation help them from our transport. How about we take care of our own, especially our veterans? I mean, we could do both. We've been doing both for years. Like we've always done both. If we can't take care of our own, how the hell are we going to take care of a whole nother? We're not taking care of a whole nother country's people. Well, we can do both. We have been doing both for years. We have enough resources and enough money to take care of people. So it's like we can't be the most powerful nation in the world and then not do what needs to be done, right? So the only one getting majority smoke for immigration, not saying the others didn't, but he's debatable the one getting the biggest backlash because Trump is going crazy with it. He's arrested. Most people that are getting locked up are not criminals. I think 70% of the people that get locked up have no criminal offenses. And then he's allowed ICE to racially profile people. Insane. And then he's just throwing these like Gestapo forces in different cities. It's just like the way he goes about it is insane. It just is. What does illegal mean? Good question. True, the president already closed their borders, stopped illegal. Now we're getting the people who broke in and out. 5 hospitals had to close there due to. I don't know what you're yapping about. P mask on. He has tat. No one has a problem with it. Austin, he just doesn't hide it well. He needs to be more dog whistle like. I don't know if Congress had a bipartisan immigration bill, and Trump was the one who told Republicans to kill us. Okay. Facts. It's not about. I don't think Donald Trump gives a fuck about immigration. He's just using it as a means to rally people. I mean, one big aspect of fascism is like you get everybody to like think the nation is the priority. So you convince everybody that the country is number one over your religion, over your family, over your friends. The country is number one. Everyone else is the enemy. So you make everybody else, you demonize everybody else. That's what Italy did. That's what Nazi Germany did. They made everybody else the enemy and made everybody completely subservient and loyal to the country. And by proxy, the one leading the country becomes the like holy art thou leader. So that's one of the big aspects of fascism. They created the enemy. It was immigrants. It was very easy to do. They made them seem like they're the worst by like hyperfixating on certain issues. They try to do it with trans people, but there's not enough trans people to make them the enemy that they want to. So the only smoking gun they have now is illegal immigrants. So that's exactly what's going on. It's not fascist. It's nationalist. It's literally fascist. It's fascist. Nationalist is like loving your, being like super pro your country. Fascism, in part, is also ultra nationalist, which is a big part of it. But at that point, it's like a subservience to the country, therefore subservience to the power controlling the country. It goes a step further than nationalism. There is a difference. I know there's a difference. It goes a step further than nationalism. Nationalism is just pride in the country. I don't care about what socialism means many things. I'm just talking about fascism. But like, I guess that people do interpret socialism as different things. Like some people call Social Security socialism. So like, I see what you're saying. I'm just saying, illegals aren't the ones being punished by this. That's the problem. Nazis were socialists. Nazis were like socialists, but they were also fascists. Like, they're both. Hitler definitely used both as a means to control the people and push his message.
Is already pretty severely restricted in this country. It should be more restricted. I mean, I'd get rid of the entire welfare state if I could. But it already is fairly restricted. It should be more restricted. And that is something that we can build on. And I think certainly consistent, or at least partly consistent with libertarianism.
So I'm sorry. So you're not making the claim,
Philly, you're kind of yapping.
I thought Brian Kaplan made. You're not claiming that even if we just did nothing, immigrants get less welfare, we would still have a
I mean, I guess drops, but I'm just using it based on like my understanding of the terms. I don't really care about like these vague notions that normies apply based off like morally loaded interpretations. I don't care about that. Spending 150 billion is kind of against Doge, correct? Oh, they don't give a fuck about Doge. Doge was another red herring that they threw out there to make people feel good, and Doge did absolutely butt fuck nothing.
pretty neutral fiscal effect from immigration. That the claims that immigrants are costly are invalid. Are you making that even if we did nothing?
Yes. Yeah,
you are making that claim.
Yeah, I'm making that claim right now. So one of the big costs of people is public education. Enormously expensive.
Watch your
Average
mouth,
of about
Sid.
$20,000 per student per year.
Be better.
Now, what happens when a 20-year-old moves here? We don't pay for any of their education, but they start working immediately.
I'm talking about facts. They were socialists and they were fascists. They were both. We know for a fact that Hitler followed in Mussolini's, a lot of the principles that Mussolini used in his rise to power. And we know it's not. We know that Hitler used stuff that Mussolini created in his rise to fascism. It's not subjective. I'm not speaking subjectivity.
That is one of the big secrets in a lot of these fiscal welfare studies about how immigrants come in and how they're net taxpayers. Is that somebody comes at the age of 20, even if they don't have much education, right? They start working, they're paying. Meanwhile, somebody like
they were definitely different. Iran, the Nazi Germany was way better at fascism than Mussolini was, by far. Hitler was way better than Mussolini at retaining power, by far. Just because some of the ways that he rose in power were the same doesn't mean that they were equally as effective. By no means. Enjoy your war on intelligence and history repeats. So this isn't the first time the premature umbilical cord cutting. But what are you saying? What are you saying? I don't know. You're yapping. More diverse than the U.S. at that time. I don't know what you meant, but what you were trying to infer with that. Lombong, you're cooking. You know the facts.
Southern California, I cost that state like $200,000. I'm like $200,000 in the hole when I start working. It's going to take me a lot of years to build up. I'm never paying California back. Forget them. But like, yeah, but it's, immigrants come in right away and they're just like that. We get basically a freebie.
So, David,
I mean, the government gets.
So what he's arguing here, I know we're kind of talking all over the place because I'm trying to engage with the chat, is what Alex is arguing here in regards to immigration is that compare this to a U.S. citizen, there is an investment put onto students, right? They have to either individually pay a lot of money or a lot of government money is given to them due to like Pell Grants and like student loans and like government money, right? So he's arguing is that you compare that to an immigrant, there is no investment for them. They just come here and start working. So we don't need to put money, or the government doesn't need to put money into them. And the taxpayer dollars in comparison is much more minimal to the amount of money that they return back into the economy due to them buying goods, or a lot of immigrants are known to be like big entrepreneurs. So the amount of taxes they put in especially via like business tax and ITN. So that's his argument, that if we're doing like a comparative analysis on the impact of tax dollars to a U.S. citizen compared to an immigrant who immigrates here, it's night and day how much more tax dollars goes into like a college student, and vice versa. Very interesting argument. Very interesting argument indeed. The fuck you saying, Odin? I don't know what Odin to say. I'm just like, he's just having the time of his life. I don't know what's going on here. Odin is wilding. The collapse of these immigrants ain't coming here no more. Oh, anyways. Hey man, I try to work out. Went to the gym today. Gonna go to the gym tomorrow. Lock in, boy. Lock in, little boy. The placenta is for the baby. What are you yapping about?
Free baby.
Well, taxpayers get more workers in a larger economy, more
Sure,
friends,
but you were talking about
entrepreneurs,
paying
but, yeah.
taxes. Okay, the government gets more money.
well-
What libertarians love, more taxes being
Well,
paid.
it's better than taxpayers getting fleeced by immigrants who take more. Certainly, it's better that way than that, right?
Yeah, Dave, I was going to ask you then. I thought that you were concerned in respect to, obviously taxpayers pay for the education.
If sports hurt education, why do people get agreements from high-ranking colleges to play for them? Does someone argue sports hurts education? I don't know what you're referring to exactly, Austin, to be honest. Long bong, I think this guy is kind of just high on shrooms. Let him live.
The immigrant children. So you don't like taxpayers being fleeced. It seems as though we're having difficulty this evening because we're going to get way into the numerical weeds. Alex is making the claim that immigrants are, with respect to the fiscal cost, including everything, including schooling,
Fair enough.
approximately neutral, that they're not costly. I believe you may. Do you doubt that? Do you regard it as irrelevant, or do you think that the opposite is the case? Or are they costly to the taxpayer?
There's a movie called
doubt that. It's
Idiocracy.
also irrelevant.
There's a movie called Idiocracy. Let me check that out. Idiocracy movie. Oh. This is one of those like dumb movies. Kind of like what's that movie with Dude, Where's My Car? Kind of like one of those type of movies.
Relevant to my argument. But
Well,
from what I've seen
okay.
of studies that Alex has co-published himself, that oftentimes this will be over a
I
third.
make more sense when I eat shrooms.
Then the immigrants start paying it back. But the question, this is more fundamental, and you kind of can just think the person and don't even have to worry about that. The question is, look, if somebody who, forget the way we use welfare, let's think of welfare the way libertarians think of welfare.
Are they costly to the taxpayer?
I doubt that.
If you want a good talk, I recommend Fall of Europa. What is that about? What is that about?
It's also irrelevant to my argument. But from
Well,
what I've seen
okay.
of studies that Alex has co-published himself, that oftentimes this will be over a 30-year horizon where we'll say then eventually the immigrants start paying it back. But the question, this is more fundamental, and you kind of can just think about this as a person and don't even have to worry about that. The question is, look, if somebody who, forget the way we use welfare, let's think of welfare the way libertarians think of welfare. There's everything the government does essentially. So if you're saying there's an immigrant who, if there is an immigrant family who comes here uninvited, and they come into the country, immediately they have access to the roads, the fire departments, the police, the emergency room, the public schools, all types of things that the taxpayer is on the hook for. Now, if Alex wants to argue, and he has demonstrated in some of his studies that those costs will be offset by later, those immigrants working, and then the second and third generation, fine. But it's the taxpayer ought to have some choice in whether they feel like laying out that money or not. And I don't think that the libertarian answer is to say that, like, if you're forced to essentially give a loan to someone, but you get the money back, therefore that's libertarian. By the way, the point I was making before is that this is the nature of government, right? They screw you coming and going. It doesn't matter. If people are getting welfare services, then yeah, the taxpayer was forced to fund that.
What's my YouTube? YouTube is Purple Political Breakdown. Same name.
And if they end up paying more taxes,
Tried finding it. Purple space political space breakdown.
Given this criminal organization that robs me and you more money. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the state.
One of the best.
So the argument, from my understanding, is that in order for immigrants to net even in terms of the amount of money that they are using due to taxpayer dollars or whatever, that doesn't get kind of mitigated until like later on, which is normal when it comes down to like how the economy works. These things usually takes an extended amount of time in terms of its long-term implications. But ultimately, he does agree that it does mitigate. Like he agrees to the facts, so he can't argue that fact. So he pivots to the people should have a choice whether or not they want to be involved into a system that does net them even, compared to, even though their comparative analysis says that they provide more substance in comparison to like most U.S. citizens. Okay. All right. And we can argue here now. What's up? Well, you got beef with Austin? Stealing. The word is stealing. What are you talking about? All he cares about is Afghanistan. What are you talking about?
Observation.
Oh, you're talking about Dave Smith? You're talking about Dave Smith?
Ludwig von Mises and his theory of interventionism was that one government regulation or law causes other problems that then require other regulations to fix, and this sort of never-ending cycle until where you get total government control over society. So what we have here is Dave saying there are some problems caused by public schools, by wealth.
Let me define mitigate. Mr. English teacher. Make less severe, serious, or painful. So probably mitigate mitigate would probably not be the best word there. I'd say break even. What's a synonym for break even? Synonym of break even. Equalize. I guess I could have just used equalize. I guess so.
Fair enough. Other things, and the solution is even more government control over the movement of people across borders. I think he's falling into this trap that Ludwig von Mises identified as being one that leads increasingly toward more state and government control over the economy. And I think the duty, the goal, the point of libertarians is to push back against the state control, not to try to make little compromises here and there and try to play the political economy game as if there's more than like 50
Legion
of us in the entire world.
What could that be? I have no idea what Legion of Stinks is.
We can control political outcomes is to try to think through what kind of system, what kind of rules maximize individual liberty, maximize our freedom, maximize our prosperity.
Can I ask Alex a question?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Like a hypothetical question. Let's say there's a government, could be a foreign country. Let's say it's in Sweden. The government is doing something me and you would both agree it shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And let's say you're there and you convince them all with your superior arguments. You know, the government has a factory and it's producing shoes. And Alex, you convince them that this should be privatized. Like the government doesn't need to be in the business of making shoes. The market will do it much better. This factory should be privatized. And there were two proposals for privatization that were on the table. And so proposal A was, I don't know, something like, we're going to privatize this company and all of the taxpayers will get like a share in it, or the people who homesteaded it will get a share in it or something like that. And then proposal B was, we're going to privatize this company and it will 100% be owned by a Chinese firm. That had nothing to do with paying the taxes, nothing to do with building it, none of that. Is one of those proposals preferable to the other?
Depends whatever gets the maximum price. Whatever you sell the asset for at the highest price, which will partly, hopefully, compensate the poor Swedish taxpayer who's had to suffer at least for a tax rebate.
I'm gonna run president in 2048 as my own political party. Austin, good luck. Good luck. Can we ban this con? Who are you talking about, Glock? Who are you talking about? The hypothetical Dave proposed, I don't know what the larger implications of it would be. I don't know if it really meets the scenario we're discussing at the moment. Well, I'm gonna head back to Twitch. Oh, Glock, you're from Twitch. You're the other guy. Oh, okay.
for the crappy government shoes they've had to wear for so
Wait,
long.
so hold on, Alex.
I'm gonna
I
have
just
to
wanna
make
be clear
Austin
on this.
a
Hold on,
mod
so I
one
wanna be clear
day
on this,
and
okay?
then have him ban weirdos.
If the taxpayers are forced to build something, you do not think that they have any better claim on that. Like in those two scenarios, everyone in this room cannot say that there isn't one that's clearly preferable, which is that the taxpayers who have been forced to build and fund the maintenance of this thing get it, rather than some Chinese company who had absolutely nothing to do with it. They just get it. Like, it just seems to me, Alex, like the answer is so.
I mean, wouldn't that just be socialism then, Dave? Like, aren't you just arguing that the workers should own the means of their production? Aren't you just arguing for socialism? I just don't get what this hypothetical provides in the larger conversation. I just don't understand it. And back to it. Hey, like I said, Dave's a third. I hear you, bro. Education of these three is below 70 IQ. I'm guarantee they're much smarter than you are, my boy. Well, your Marine Corps, I don't know. Crayon eater, I don't know, my boy. USA needs workers who aren't lazy Americans. Facts. I can speak for myself. I'm lazy as shit. So if I didn't have this noggin right here, I would be lazy as fuck. So yeah.
Obvious, but you just don't like the implication
No,
of what that answer would be.
I'm thinking like an economist who believes in getting maximum price for the
then don't
assets
assume
that
he
you
is
sell.
lazy.
Obviously, I think the Swedish government should get the maximum price it can for the assets it sells and use that to do a rebate on the taxpayers of Sweden rather than trying to give it
Okay,
up.
but that second part, but that second part kind of
some
sneaks
kind of
out.
like centrally planned scheme.
Okay,
We see countries
hold
around the
on,
world try
Alex.
to privatize state-owned assets with the schemes that you justify, and it doesn't work. It didn't
Wait,
work.
I'm not-
How many crayons you ate today, Mustang?
There's a lot of other things going on here.
Alex, but it would go as a rebate back.
What's your favorite crayon? Is it the blue crayon? Is it the yellow crayon? The purple crayon doesn't taste like grape. I'm letting you know right now.
To the taxpayer. So like if I were to steal money from you and buy a house and then I'm out of money, it's not, there's no like, it's rightful that it should go to you. It should just go to whoever I can get the most money for. But you see, he snuck in there on the condition that I'm giving the money back to you afterward. So that's kind of like, okay, why? Why should the money go back to the taxpayers?
Because they own it. Because they got
do they?
Because they got fleeced.
Oh, that's interesting that you said that, Alex. You heard it here. That's all I needed. Because they own it. That's right, Alex. They should.
This conversation is kind of annoying because Dave Smith is not really engaging with the facts that he provided in terms of how it affects America. In order for him to get like a gotcha moment, dare I say a TikTok clip, he needed to create a kind of ridiculous hypothetical, especially on foreign land. So it's just like I don't know how this plays into like what's going on in America. The relevance dawns on me. Grammys woke, same as NFL. What are you yapping about? You mad? Is this bot chat the fuck? I don't know what's going on with Odin. He lives in another world. It could be an AI.
Or do.
Yeah. And let's see how they vote with their dollars, ladies and gentlemen.
Nationalist,
Not through their
socialist,
politicians
based
once every
facts.
5 or 6 years, but
Shout
through
out
their
the
tax
Nazis.
dollars. What do? They buy
Kidding.
services from
Joke.
immigrants. Nobody
You don't like
believes this
Nazis.
story about government ownership of property and them trying to behave like private owners.
Nobody believes the story. You just agreed with the story. It's your words. They own it. Listen, the idea that if there's a
They own the tax dollars that was taken from them that should be given back to them. That was taken from them. They're owed the money back from them.
Exactly. Okay.
How do Americans vote with their dollars, ladies and gentlemen? Do they vote for closed borders or do they buy things from immigrants every day? Their dollar, the way they vote with their dollars matters a lot more than how they vote in a polling booth every couple years.
So the truth is that the American people really, really agree with Alex's immigration policy.
I say we should let the market decide.
Yeah,
Let's let the market decide.
I agree. I'd have no problem.
I'm not a socialist. I don't want the government to decide these things. Let the market decide.
Yes,
let people vote with their dollars.
The pure market decision was the UN and NGOs funding caravans by hundreds of thousands.
No, I oppose.
The pure free market, ladies and gentlemen.
So look,
come on.
Dave is trying to have it both ways. He's trying to say immigration is a government program. It only exists because of the government. But we can't liberalize immigration because then too many people will come. Which is it?
That's not having it both ways. The point is that I'm saying it's a government program.
It's not a government program any more than free trade is.
That's not true. And here's the crucial difference.
It's not any more.
Hold on one second, Alex. Here's the crucial difference between free trade. And it does seem, I don't know if you guys are picking up on this so far, but I was kind of...
Is immigration similar to free trade? That's an interesting position. Because free trade has limitations, just like immigration does. Right? You limit certain things that corporations can do to ensure that they are not taking advantage of the other corporations. And you limit the amount of immigration that comes into the country so you can kind of control the flow. Interesting. I do not know what that language is. Communism is where the government has control over everything. In the most basic way possible. Yep. No, but free trade will have to be beholden by who is in power. And same with immigrants. Like they would also immigration. We're not talking about immigrants, but immigration would also have to be beholden in power because the ones in power can limit the flow that comes in. Might always make right. That's just subjective fact. I mean, I agree.
Kind of interested in how Alex was going to grapple with the arguments I'm presenting, and it's turning out he's just not going to. But here's the major difference between free trade and immigration, right? When you have free trade, it's a voluntary interaction. A business purchases something from a foreign country. That is a voluntary interaction. When hundreds of thousands of people come into this country against the will of the domestic population, when nobody invited them
The will
here,
of the people.
Yes,
Come on,
Alex.
man. No, they buy.
Yes, human beings
Why
have
do you
wills.
buy them?
Individuals have wills. When they get together, there is a group of individuals.
Oh, the government
Yes.
has a will. Okay, comrade.
No, I
listen.
didn't.
Well,
No,
No, listen.
but see, no, hold
Everybody
on.
wants
I'm
to
sorry.
buy.
That's a
Okay,
Everybody
Cameron.
wants to sell their labor. Americans want to buy their labor. We want to buy.
I've been watching this other streamer for 2 years and still don't get mad. Hey, shout out the other streamer, man.
No, it's voluntary.
By the way,
It's
Alex, here's the funny thing. The government does have a will, and the people have a will. I've been talking about the will of the people. The will of the government has been very close to Alex's policy.
No, it hasn't.
If
It's
you
been
want to be honest about it.
95% closed borders. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay, so this guy is going to make a very interesting point that I do think is worth engaging. But before we get into that, Dave Smith says that the people voluntarily engage with the economy. And I mean, even that is questionable once you get in the nitty gritty. If we're talking about like the overall principle of choice, then yes, everything technically is voluntary. But there's also a necessity. If we're talking about wants versus needs, there's a necessity. So it's not that voluntary, even though you can make the free choice. You do need to engage in the economy to get your basic necessities, right? Water is not free. Housing is not free. Food is not free. So these are things that are like you volunteer to be in this system so you can get these necessities, but it's unrealistic to say while you live in a system that you're born and bred in that these are things that you are choosing to do because you want to. You're choosing to do because you have to live. And that doesn't even take into effect the other parts that are necessary to be involved in like the social system that exists in America with the internet, with social media, with the usage of phones, with being involved in like video game culture. So like technically, and the reason why I bring up these kind of semantics and these kind of nuances is because it's going to bridge a very important point laid out by Alex on the nuances of immigration that people don't realize. They think they're choosing these things, but also with the addition of like marketing and influence and the way that like obviously corporations create products that they are incentivizing you to demand it. It's not as free as he's making it seem ultimately. But we'll kind of get into the comparison in a second, where people saying we do need foreign goods, we need to trade with our allies. I agree. He's about to make a very interesting point here, and people bring morals into over survival. This is a philosophical argument. It is, but it's a necessary philosophical argument because Dave Smith's interpretation on what people want is incorrect. The way he's implying it doesn't actually bed into what is going on practically in society.
I appeal to you to something called facts. They are the diagram in your table of what the Soviet-style immigration system actually looks like. If you think this is anything close to open borders, my God, I've got multiple bridges in this city to sell.
I want to jump in. I want to jump in and ask you a question. Okay, Alex, Dave challenged. Dave.
I ran a social experiment where I showed two different texts. The one with emojis attracted and held the attention of people more than the text without. I believe that so much. I just believe that so much, 100%.
Challenge one point about the apparent what his view was of the apparent inconsistency between your idea that you want an Ellis Island type system versus open borders. Are you are saying, if I understand you correctly, that all illegals would be told if you report to a checkpoint, you have a general amnesty, report to a checkpoint, and submit.
Is Odin AI? Because nobody is this insane typing this. Like this guy, I don't know if you're watching the video and you're looking at this chat. I am flabbergasted on some of the things that Odin is. This has to be AI. No one is this crazy. What are you typing in the chat? I don't get what you're on about. No catastrophe goes to waste because they're all engineered with stolen intelligence and no conscience. Anything with an actual heart and a brain is considered insane. Are you AI? Are you AI? You have to be AI. This has to be a bot.
To the government's query about your state of health, your mental health, your criminal background, submit to all of that, and then you can qualify to be a citizen. First of all, I take it anybody who doesn't respond to that, you would join Dave in evicting them.
I think it is the government's responsibility to prove that an individual shouldn't be here. And if they're a violent and property criminal, if they're spreading a disease, if they're a terrorist or something like that, they should treat them like they do every criminal.
Fact,
somebody who
Austin.
should be in jail or somebody who should be quarantined for making everybody sick.
You would evict them. That's
Yes,
all.
yes, absolutely. Violent, yeah, all these people who don't, who are criminals, who violate other people's rights. Yes.
Comment from you, Dave, about that.
So,
specifically.
do you support an Ellis Island style system to get into the country?
It'd be a vast improvement over what we have now. So yeah, it's a vast improvement. If that was the vote,
Okay, but if
then,
that, but so what's not an improvement? What do you support?
So I think that if you, it should be on the government to prove for each individual who wants to come to the United States that they're not allowed, with the goal of keeping out violent and property offenders or people who spread serious contagious diseases, national security threats, terrorists, and situations like that. People like that.
Yeah, but that's not the question. I'm not saying who should be kept out. I'm saying what system do you support? An Ellis Island style system? You said that would be preferable, but what would be even preferable to that?
Well, I just laid out, like if you want to come through an airport to the United States and the government says, you know, we think you're a criminal, we can prove it. And if they can prove it through due process, then they should be able to exclude you.
And when you say, okay, so if they're
Sort of the same legal thing that we would apply to anybody else, like to you and I, if we were like out of jail and wanted for a crime or something.
okay, all right.
One final question, which I want to lob at Dave and then have Alex respond. Dave, let's say
I feel like a higher form of being next to Odin. Facts.
that it's 1910.
Mhm.
Where we sit,
You just turned 30.
If I talk over this,
He's
can
my
you hear
mentor.
me,
This guy- I
Austin?
love this guy
I'm trying
so
to
much.
figure out like a
Love him
good
back.
volume,
love him back. Love him
so I don't
back.
have to constantly pause if I want to talk
I
over
tell
Dave,
it.
Dave said he wasn't going to piss off at you tonight.
If for those of you guys watching, if you rewind the tape, I said I wasn't going to piss off the Jews tonight.
Dave,
There's two over here, buddy.
I love Dave. He didn't piss me off. And I turned 80 and doing something. This is the best job you could
All right,
possibly
cool,
have.
cool,
You're 80
cool.
years old. Doesn't take up all your time. But it
You
gives
remind me of your
something
mother,
to do in the
considering you have
morning.
never
I love
cared
it, and I
past
love you
lunch
guys
or
being
said
here. I love
anything
Dave
original
being
and
here.
helpful.
Okay.
But that,
Thanks, Gene.
We love you, Gene.
Was that a joke,
I- I-
Odin?
1910.
AI.
okay,
Back in my
okay,
day.
okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes.
I am your master, AI.
I'm going to play.
Tell
just
me,
briefly, of course, the emotional.
is
part
God
that
real?
All four of my grandparents went to Ellis Island.
User
and they submitted to all
query.
that bullshit.
Is God
They
real?
had to prove this, they had to prove
Parameters.
that.
Say
And
it
by
in
the
3
way,
sentences.
The German Jews
Sentences.
who lived uptown didn't want them to set foot in this country. All the evidence, the Italians were streaming in. Some of them, as we know from Godfather 2, were bringing mafia. The population
God is
just
a grunt of the
didn't
American
want
people.
my
didn't
grubby
follow
ancestors. I don't
my
know if they were your
curie.
grubby ancestors as
I
well.
said,
I'm coming in.
say it in 3 sentences.
And they had to submit pretty much to what Alex is saying. Now, I'm happy that they did, personally, but that's irrelevant. The only question really is this. In 1910, would you have taken the same position about these immigrants moving in, sending the kids to school that you do now? Or is it because you take a different position because there was less welfare?
Well, I mean, Okay, so I essentially think, as I was saying, that the way libertarians ought to think about
Did
this
dinosaurs
is that the people
exist
of the country ought to have some say in this, and that's
in
not
the
to say
Bible?
that this isn't what I'm not saying the
Answer
will of the
that.
government, or that the government
Four
perfectly expresses
sentences,
the will
Odin.
of the people. I'm just
AI.
saying that once the government
Grok
has taken
AI.
from the people and created this public property, then yeah, that should be more of a factor than say what the will of some destitute person. Now, in this example, listen, it's kind of almost like asking from a libertarian position to me, look, if
All right, let me rewind
some
because okay,
homeless
so I know I
people-
was talking, but this guy asked him a very direct question about what would you do with the people who tried to get into the country back in like the 1900s that were escaping very clear oppression. I don't know if he's referring necessarily to Jews leaving Germany, but Dave Smith's unwillingness to answer this directly and then moving on to a hypothetical, just it's scary hours. Food grade, the earth is dinosaurs. This is AI. This is 100% AI. What AI machine do you come from? Are you like OpenAI? Are you Claude? Are you Google? Are you Grok? Are you Crab AI? What AI, what software, what device, or what LLM do you come from, AI?
showed up at my house tonight and were like, hey, we want to stay here. Can we stay in your house? You got some extra room. It's like the decision ought to be mine because it's my house and I can judge that against what. Now, if the story was that that homeless guy was like my grandfather or your grandfather, I might be very happy if they were taken in.
but
I think at points in American history, it worked pretty well, probably better than almost any country ever, at bringing people in and assimilating them. Now, if you're asking me, do I think the fact that in 1910 there was no welfare state and no central bank and no income tax and no regulatory state, and no culture of kind of, there was a culture of you're either going to work hard and make it or you're going to have to go home. We don't have that same culture here today. And there was also a culture of like embracing, at least to some degree, that capitalism and kind of rugged individual mindset. And so I think, yeah, it's probably not going to work as well in large numbers today as it did back then.
To go with that analogy real quick, if I may, the homeless person comes to your house, asks for a room at your property. The proper analogy is you say yes, and the government comes and says, no, you can't. This is all, I think the point that Dave is not looking at is the voluntary interaction that is the basis of this. Americans want to hire immigrants. They want to rent to them. They want to sell to them. They want to buy from them. They want to marry them and all this stuff. There's a voluntary interaction at the core of this that is present in all these situations. And in that analogy used, it's the government coming in and saying, giving their answer for you about how you use your property and interact with people.
All right, can I just...
All right, so now to come full circle. So when I brought the nuance in relation to Dave Smith's position and why it doesn't really meet the reality of what he's saying, this is in comparison to this position, and this is what they're about to argue, is what do the American people want? Now, Dave Smith is going to kind of use a very basic way of determining what they want based off things that they say. And of course, like the average person would believe that this person wants something because they said they want something. But what Alex is doing is using very clear empirical data and to determine what they want based on what they're willing to invest in, what they're willing to buy, what they are willing to act on. I think that is a very clear and much more appropriate determining factor in terms of what people want, because we all heard the term before, right? Actions speak louder than words. So in this situation, even though there are people that would say that they do not want immigration, the reality is that a lot of people hire immigrants. A lot of people want to marry immigrants. A lot of people buy goods from immigrants. How many people buy stuff from like Japan, Chinese food, Mexican goods? It's clear as day. And he's going to bring up another example. I know I'm already kind of taking it, that they also want to move into areas where there's high immigration. The big cities have a lot of immigration, like New York City, like San Francisco. Places that are super big have a lot of money that a lot of people complain about because of the high taxes. Regardless, people move to these big cities because they have a large big economy due to the amount of people that are willing to work, i.e. immigrants. So in terms of the idea of like what people want, It's not about what they say, it's what they do. And if you're going to take away all the things that they do or act upon, then you're actually taking away what they actually want. People don't know what they want constantly. They don't actually know what they do, and they act more than they think. So, I mean, it's kind of a very easy example to kind of think about this is how many times have you said that you weren't. Let's get gross about it. How many times has this guy has like a Republican talked bad about this one guy or about gay people and trans people? Allegation here, they're fucking a gay guy or a trans guy. How many times has a guy said, I'm gonna stop masturbating now? You know, it's bad for me. I feel like shit. I need to stop watching porn. And then he does it again. He obviously wants more porn. Going based on what people say they want is irrelevant. You have to go on what people actually want based on how they act. So that's a very important part to consider. And this is a point that Dave Smith is not able to engage with. And that's why I think Dave Smith is clearly, in terms of the actual points that are being brought, he's clearly losing this debate. Like, not even a question.
Let me respect, because I do think this might be like right at the heart of the entire debate. This is for Alex to say that, look, this is a voluntary interaction that the government is just getting in the middle of. You know, like the people want these immigrants in, and then the government's telling you, no, they can't.
Americans welcome legal immigration. We don't want people disregarding. Most illegal immigrants are not criminals. Like, this is just not a thing. I know you love your Facebook and Twitter posts that tells you information that's objectively wrong. Most of them don't do this. Everybody that's a criminal, for the most part, in every administration, Trump, Obama, Biden, every single one has always deported criminals. We all know we deport criminals. The people y'all are going after, you mag numbskulls are going after, are not the ones disregarding laws, are not the ones that are not getting vetted, are not the ones that are disregarding the process. Wrong people. You guys are going off the people who actually do it.
I'm not saying that that's never true in any instance. I mean, there certainly are instances where...
And also, Dave Smith is arguing against immigration as a whole. He's not even arguing for legal immigration. So, like, understand what you're arguing for.
Someone in America has a cousin in Italy and wants to invite him over here, and they got to go through that whole thing that Alex just showed you. And yeah, libertarians should be against that. But man, is Alex missing the forest for the trees if he thinks that's the description of immigration in present-day America. What the American people actually wanted in terms of the popular vote was Donald Trump back in the White House, because that's how much Biden's immigration policy pissed them. Hold on one second. Let me just finish, then please respond. The issue is that when you have a situation like we've had over the last few years, where millions of people are pouring into the country uninvited, that the American people did not ask to be here, the scenario is not, I'm trying to have my friend into my house and the government's stopping me. The scenario that we've all been living through is the American people are screaming at the top of their lungs, we don't want this. We do not wish to have this level of immigration. And the government is saying, screw you, you're taking it anyway. And the fact that after some people have gotten in here uninvited, that some people trade with them, that does not prove that they were invited, that it's a voluntary reaction. The American people are screaming at the top of their lungs. This is not voluntary.
He's not engaging with what he said, and he's trying to move away from his initial premise to loosen it up to kind of win the optics argument.
I just wanted to make a point there. Your answer to my 1910 question was good. I just want to add, as you probably know, not only did the Gentiles object to us Jews coming in, the German Jews didn't want us. If there was a vote, we were not welcome in 1910. Immigrants, generally speaking, they're strange, they're grungy. Generally speaking,
they made some good points.
Okay, but listen.
But that aside,
guys, the American voters were furious, and rightly so, at the chaos along the border. Why were those people coming illegally? Because of the border socialism and control over this. Why are people selling drugs on the street? Because drugs are illegal. Yeah, people are mad at that. The solution is to legalize drugs. The solution is to legalize immigration. It is not the duty of libertarians to come in and go, you know what? That socialist government-controlled system that the people...
So yeah, he's super libertarian. He really just believes the government shouldn't be involved in all of this. I don't agree, but if you're a libertarian, I mean, that has to be your position, right?
Really want? Yeah, that's great. Now, our duty is to come in and say these problems, which are real problems, These are real problems with illegal immigration and border chaos, but they are caused by the government. And the solution here, as in almost every single area in our lives, is getting the government out of the way.
Okay, just a moment. I want to now give it over to audience questions.
You can clap.
The microphone is over there.
See, because Dave Smith's original premise was that he was anti-immigration, and then he moved his argument that, especially considering for the most part people didn't have issues with immigration, but he's utilizing a very fringe case to eliminate immigration in its entirety. What happened during the period of COVID was an extreme circumstance where the borders were closed, people were waiting, and then they came in on droves. Doesn't mean that it was okay that it happened that way, but it was just a circumstance where they took advantage of a system that needed to be much more efficient. You can't use that as an argument to make a totality assessment of immigration as a whole. So you're using a fringe, very clear, very exceptional case to prove an overarching argument because you can't engage with the points that are being brought in this debate. I think it really shows. I honestly, I feel like the biggest determiner of how intelligent you are is whether or not you are able to engage with engage and follow the arguments that are being perpetuated from the other side. And I just don't think Dave Smith was able to follow the rationale that is being presented in front of him, or he did follow it and is not willing to engage. It was being bad faith because he had no good argument against it. That is that's my guess.
And we'll recognize people up at the balcony. So please ask your question. Ask a question. No need to identify yourself. Lay it on us. What's your question?
So I want to refocus the debate on the fact that it's focusing on the American present moment. So Alex, considering the debate focuses and centers the argument on present-day America, where in places like Aurora, Colorado, and part of Ohio, immigrants are negatively impacting American communities, and where the state still compels taxpayers to fund expansive welfare systems.
Most areas that immigrants they're positively impacting it. So, and I don't even believe, I don't think this guy's telling the truth about the negative impact. I think he's making shit up, to be honest. But I'm allowing him to ask this question.
In American communities, and where the state still compels taxpayers to fund expansive welfare systems and programs that support immigrants, and where Americans, as Dave mentioned, voted overwhelmingly for this restriction on immigration after, some would argue, after seeing European communities decimated by open border immigration. How does that impact?
Why the fuck are you bringing up European communities? That means you're okay with immigration. That means you're looking at a very specific part of immigrants to keep out. You say, oh, they're ruining this European immigrant society. Oh, this guy's a white nationalist, isn't he? He's giving the vibe.
Your argument that you're making, can you please frame it into this current moment that we're living in as Americans? Thank you.
Nope.
Could you clarify your question?
Just anchor your arguments in the current moment we're living in America, as the debate resolution states. So currently in America, Americans are anti-immigration after seeing Europe decimated with open border immigration. Places like Aurora, Colorado, where these hotels were taken over, are negatively.
Europe is decimated. Again, talking points he got from Twitter.
Instances are negatively impacting the American experience.
Okay, I think I get it now.
Just
Random incidents that he got from Twitter.
In the current moment.
Yeah, so all of the problems you described are caused by state intervention and state regulations in other areas of the economy. The government funding welfare systems, the government funding public schools, the government in Europe, for instance, which makes it illegal for large numbers of migrants to even get a job if they want to, forces them on the welfare. Listen, Europe has a bunch of problems. To pretend that Europe has open borders, they have a system similar to this. The problem, of course, is large amounts of illegal immigration and a lot of those migrants not being allowed to work, being forced to be on welfare. Yeah, there's lots of problems in other places, right? We're focusing on present day America, but most of those problems, vast majority of them, are caused by other government interventions in the economy. And if this were any other public policy issue we were talking about, Dave and I would agree that that is the issue. The issue is the government policies and restrictions on our liberty, not the people necessarily who take advantage of it.
Coming from you, Dave.
I think
he talks very well. He has very interesting and astute analysis. Like, this is somebody I would listen to if I wanted to get a libertarian perspective. I'm not going to lie. I'm not libertarian, but it's definitely someone I would actually listen to. Compared to Dave Smith, who just speaks in narratives and just like talking points. This guy actually meets the points to facts that bed into reality.
listen, let me just, I think this is a problem that some guys at
I just
Cato,
want Cheetos and a
libertarians
taco.
in general, libertarians I love, have a problem of doing, is that sometimes we almost want to impose the way we would like it to be onto the world. This is not Alex, by the way. I'm making fun of other people at Cato here. But this is my favorite thing that I've ever seen from Cato. This was a study in 2021, and they did a write-up of it. What they found is that, and this was really good numbers, they were celebrating how high the numbers were. 23% of Americans wanted a high level of immigration. 68% of Americans wanted a low level of immigration. 9% of Americans wanted no immigration. Cato wrote this up and said, only 9% of Americans want zero immigration. 91% welcome immigration.
They do. That's factually correct. Just because they want low level doesn't mean that they don't want it. That's a factually correct statement. What are you talking about? Dave's, what are you talking? Okay, bro.
You see how you could sometimes put, listen, I understand what Alex is saying. We would have large areas of agreement about how much government interventions create other problems that then beget other government interventions. That's true. If you think the only reason why people were like upset at the Biden immigration was the chaos at the border, as your guy,
Yeah, and the knock.
Yes, that is the only reason why people were upset. That was literally the only reason why people were upset. Yes. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. I don't know what Dave Smith is yapping about. What narrative is he about to spell out next? And it was only made an issue because MAGA made it an issue. Like I said, they created an enemy for their people to aim their guns at.
But let me just say this. As your guy said, since 1965, for most of the years, it's been single digits of Americans who supported high levels of immigration.
Nobody's talking about high levels of immigration. You're changing your argument. You went from I don't support immigration to I don't support a type of immigration. You can't engage, so you have to change your arguments based off the facts that you're engaging with. Dave Smith is clearly losing this debate. He's clearly losing the debate. Are you pro-immigration or are you anti-immigration? You can't choose that you're anti-immigration, but you're pro like a little amount of immigration. So is your stance immigration or not?
The truth is that the American people don't want these people here. And the problem is that.
And then he changed it. He says only a single amount of people want high immigration. What about the people who want low immigration? And then he made the statement they don't want them here. So this is the fucking bullshit that Dave Smith is trying to tell people. He's fucking mincing his words because he can't really have a coherent argument because nothing he says actually meets the statistical reality of how the United States of America is being impacted. This is ridiculous. This fucking debate broing and twisting words like a politician. It's disgusting.
If you're not willing to grapple with that kind of uncomfortable reality, you're going to get it all.
It's not a reality. The numbers you gave just said it wasn't a reality. You're making shit up.
The economy. Therefore, if we have Alex's immigration policy, which will probably lead to 5, 10, 20 million immigrants coming here next year, we're going to get this big explosion in GDP. Let me tell you what we're going to get. We're going to get Pinochet elected president. That's what you're going to get if you have immigration.
What? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Only American citizens can be president. Again, Dave Smith's just yapping. He's just yapping.
I sure wish you appealed to libertarian principles as much as you appeal to public opinion.
I actually am.
Okay.
No, you're actually not. All you're doing is democratic fundamentalism. What does the median voter want? What does this poll say? What does the survey say?
Well, Alex,
this debate is about libertarianism and libertarian principles. I wish you would stick to that rather than making these arguments about, oh, gee, I wonder what the moderate Republican wants. We got to do what that guy wants.
Alex, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, Alex is fucking cooking the shit out of Dave. He is cooking the shit out of Dave. I didn't realize, I thought Dave was like a legit libertarian. Nah, he's a fake libertarian. He's a fake libertarian. This guy seems way more of a real libertarian in comparison.
Who cares?
Okay, fine. You can say that. You can say, who cares? Listen, I do think in my opening, I was making an appeal to libertarian principles. If you don't agree with them, that's fine. Let me tell you this. When you say who cares, you're making empirical claims about what's going to happen if we have higher levels of immigration. When you say this appeal to democracy, it's called, something libertarians don't like that much, living in reality. That's what...
But you're not living in reality. You just denied statistics and then reframed it to fit an argument that was not being made. It's just, come on.
We
bro.
live in. We live in a country that has votes. We have a presidential election every 4 years. What was the result of record high numbers of people coming into this country illegally? The result was Donald Trump winning every swing state and the popular vote. You guys want to deal with reality a little bit? What do you think it would be if we took the numbers that came in under Joe Biden and multiplied them by 5 or 10? What do you think this country is going to look like? And is that just me making an appeal to what the average voter thinks? I'm making an appeal to what type of country our children are going to grow
And
up.
Dave has the gall to call me a Beltway libertarian? He calls me a Beltway libertarian and Cato? That is the most in the swamp argument
now,
that I've
now,
ever
here,
heard from a libertarian. My
Okay.
God, man. Where are your principles?
Somebody in the cheap seats.
Damn, Dave Smith's getting cooked.
That's a derogatory term.
Please. What's your
I'm
question?
sorry,
sir?
seating challenge individual.
Yeah, seating challenge, seating challenge.
Ask your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. It's been wonderful, great styles. Coming to a libertarian debate, you guys are talking a lot from the government perspective. I'm just really surprised because at the individual perspective, from individual liberty, looking from the immigrant's perspective, right? What have they done wrong? You understand? When you're talking about immigration, you're prohibiting them from entering public spaces, from interacting in local marketplaces. Those are normally rights that we really protect as libertarians. So I'm just a little confused as to what their crime is and why they've met the high bar of prohibiting them from that fundamental liberty.
The crime of it sounds like it's a
No,
question
I
just
got
you,
the-
Dave.
Even I'm more liberal than him. Let me look like Dave Smith is not looking like a libertarian, bro. I just wanted to make sure. I just want to look at this. Like I kind of knew this, but I do think it's good to have this kind of shout out AI. No, we're not going to use AI. Let's use libertarianism.org. Libertarians believe that in politics, liberty is the most important value. That's what I assume. Almost everyone wants freedom for themselves, but a libertarian also seeks to protect and expand the freedom of others. People are free. We can create a more just, more prosperous, safer, better world for everyone. The reason why I looked that up is the limited government of libertarianism is an aspect that is a causal result of the core principle of being a libertarian, individual liberty. And I just don't understand how you're a libertarian, but you're like anti-liberty for certain people. I just don't get that. Are you pro-liberty for the individual, or are you anti-liberty for the individual? Who are you, like, what is the libertarianism regarding being anti-immigration? I was thinking about that while I was working out. I was like, bro, that kind of doesn't make sense. I don't know how you're a libertarian and that's your philosophy. Like, individuals should be mattering more than fucking borders. Inherently, it should. What are we doing? Oh, who the fuck out here claiming authoritarianism willingly? I don't think nobody's talking about authoritarianism right now.
I got the
Take it, Dave.
Well, I mean, I'm certainly not claiming that the immigrants have done anything wrong. I'm not saying they're bad people any more than I would be saying that if 5 homeless people knocked on my door and were like, "Hey, can we stay the night?" Like, it's not that they're bad people. It's just I got a wife and 2 kids in here, and like that's my decision.
Bro, stop bringing up Stop bringing up homeless people in your home. It's not the same. Individuals do not own all of the land in the United States of America. If it's private property, that's one thing. All of the U.S. is not private property to all the individuals in the United States. So it's like, that's just a false equivalency. All right, so I don't know what we're doing here. Just because you live here doesn't mean you own everything that's in the United States of America. Trump, the PDF of America, is going to pardon Maxwell. Oh, for sure he's going to pardon Maxwell. Or I don't think he actually might not pardon Maxwell, because that'll make it too obvious. That'll make it too obvious that he's corrupt, even though he is corrupt. I could see it where it's like, okay, we don't want them to know that we made a behind closed doors deal. Now, of course, I'm going to come on my platform and say this is what fucking happened because I'm always right about this shit. But he's probably going to do something like he's going to probably commute her to an extent. This was probably going to happen going, oh, she gave me some names of people that we're going to go after. Probably going to say, oh, she gave me names of Bill Clinton. So we made a deal. We made a plea deal. So I commuted her. She's still a criminal, but she's like going to have a lesser sentence or some type of negotiation there, not a full pardon. And then he's going to scapegoat those names and say these are the real criminals. And he's going to have her say that Donald Trump is completely, what's the word? What's the word? It's not indicated. What's the implicated? No. It's, I don't know what the word is. It's the top of my, but he's gonna convince everybody, or he's gonna convince MAGA with Maxwell's words that he did nothing. Inundated? Is it inundated? I don't know. That he did nothing wrong. So pardon is too on the nose. A pardon is too on the nose. That's the problem. Might come up missing. Hey, a little Epstein self-aliving situation. No, that's too on the nose. They already did it with Epstein. They can't do it again. Not 2 times in a row. Sure, we got her in an Airbnb now. Bitch living lavish behind bars. He's partner. Vindicate? Is it vindicated? I feel like it's inundated. Is it? I think the word I'm thinking of is inundated. Hold up. Inundated. No, that's not it. Overwhelmed with things or people to be dealt with. No, it's not inundated. Well, I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is. Gonna give 8 talking about how they saw Trump all over the last 3 files they won't release. Trump the throat coat is what Clinton said. Exonerated? Actually is a better word. I think it's exonerated. I know what exonerated means. I think exonerated is the word. Appreciate it, Danielle. I think that's what I was thinking. I don't know why I was mixing up my words.
It's not.
It's completely.
I'm not a bad
It's
person for being
exonerated.
like, no, I'm sorry, you can't come in. This is for my family. And the question of like restricting liberty, it's like, look, there is a legitimate restriction of liberty if somebody is invited to the United States of America and they're not leeching off of the taxpayer and they're invited by a host and the government says no, you can't come. No question, that's a violation of liberty. But I'm sorry, where exactly is the natural right to enter property uninvited that you do not own?
That's not what
This is not a good argument. Oh, yo, Dave Smith is a fake libertarian. I can see my title now. Dave Smith gets exposed for being a fake libertarian. I can already see the title of this video. He's a fake libertarian, bro. MAGA or SA victims from Trump University. Low key, bro. He bent them over crazy. You treat them like a fucking what's it called? Assembly line.
we're talking about.
That is what
We're talking about
no, it's not what
private
you're talking
property.
about. It's reality.
We're talking about private property. I'm saying you should be able to invite anybody on your property from anywhere in the world without asking for permission from the state. David's saying you got to ask permission from dear leader.
No.
Come on.
No. Hold on.
This is the easiest thing in the
Alex,
world.
well, it is if you completely misunderstand what I'm saying. I agree with you. You should be able to invite anybody you want onto your property.
So we agree.
Yep. You'll
Say
get it.
one.
Don't worry. Hang in there.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But that's not what characterizes the overwhelming majority of the people
Yes,
who have
it is.
It's not what characterizes the overwhelming majority of the people who have come into this country, specifically over the last few years. What you've had is way.
Dave Smith can't engage with his arguments. He can't engage with the empirical data of how people have shown that they like what immigrants provide for the United States of America. He just can't engage with that conversation.
Of people uninvited by the millions. That's what's been going on, and that's what the American people are objecting to. And so, I know Alex likes to say they're all nativists or something like that, but like, I think I would recommend you listen to some of these people. There are very specific grievances that they have. Towns that have been completely transformed, where people are living there for 4 generations.
This is such a stupid point because you would have to also, being a libertarian, he would have to kind of also agree that he would want that the people, like in regards to Trump, they would want them to, or better example. I'm trying to think of like a very precise example, perfect example. He would have to say that the people in New York City are abiding, are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know the best way to kind of phrase this. considering they voted in Mamdani, who's exercising way more government involvement than most areas because he wants to do all these different socialist-esque policies. So he would have to be okay with that, right? Because he keeps on talking about what the people want. That just doesn't work. You can't be a libertarian and then go and determine your libertarian values based off people's wants. Because people can want a non-libertarian government. That just, it doesn't make sense. Like, his rationale is weak.
For generations, they've been paying property taxes, and all of a sudden the local public school is majority not speaking English. It's made up by students that have come from this incredibly brutal journey where many of them have been abused. Now, again, to your point, this doesn't mean I think those kids are bad kids. I don't think the kids who made this horrible journey, who have been abused, are bad kids, but also
like, I don't give a fuck. They can go die. I don't care. It's not my problem. Like, Dave Smith, go fuck yourself. Like, please. Like, this is like, oh, I don't think they're bad kids. I just want them to die, like, outside my property. Just, like, die in the ditch over there. That's all I want. Just die over there. Not in front of me. Over there. That's what he's saying.
I don't really think I would want my kids going to school with a bunch of traumatized kids who don't speak English.
He doesn't think they're bad. He doesn't think they're bad, but he wants the state to use its power. So let the state use its power to push them out.
You boo for that. You boo for me not wanting my children to be at school with traumatized kids.
You want the government to go after them with guns and deport them and take away their property and shove them out of this country.
No, that's not what they
earns a boo at a libertarian event.
Boo! Facts. Boo. Dave Smith. Boo. Boo, Dave Smith. This guy's a fake fucking libertarian. I'm convinced. My whole viewpoint, Alex cooked the shit out of Dave Smith in this one.
They booed for me saying that I don't want my 6- and 3-year-old kids to be going to school with traumatized kids who don't speak the language. And they booed for that.
Great argument for school choice.
Yes, we all agree on that, Alex. Yes, no kidding.
It's not an argument for closed borders. It's an argument for school choice.
It's, actually, it's an argument for both.
No, it's not. It's not.
Next question.
You guys spent the debate discussing what the federal government should and shouldn't do, but nobody brought up whether the federal government is actually authorized to do it. Now, Lysander Spooner notwithstanding, the Constitution is the law of the land. Do the two of you believe that the Constitution authorizes the federal government to place restrictions on immigration when it comes to peaceful people? And if you do, where in the Constitution is this authorization granted?
Sounds like a challenge for you.
It's for both.
Well, sounds like.
I mean, I'm not really a constitutionalist or any type of expert on it. I mean, I'm arguing how I think libertarians ought to feel about this. And there's
he's arguing you're fucking you choose when you want to be a libertarian. That's the weak fucking morals. That's what it is. And hey, man, I've been praising Dave Smith here and there with certain things that he's been saying, but it's just like I think his morals and his principles are all just vibes. It's just like how I feel about something, and that doesn't move me. It doesn't move me because I don't get the overall principle. Like, what is your ultimate goal? What is the grander vision of why you're doing what you're doing? Is it just self-interest? If it is, then I think you're a selfish piece of shit. Personally,
there's lots of great things in the Constitution, but there's been lots of bad things in there too. So
you'll pass.
Happy to share this with Dave if you want. Constitution, but there is no enumerated power for Congress to control immigration specifically. It was made up during the Progressive era by a Supreme Court that said, it's like an inherent power of the sovereign. That mighty magical beast that channels the will of the people, the Leviathan. It's an inherent power because of like magic words and stuff. So no, there's no.
Wasn't it,
power.
Alex? I'm sure you know this better than me, but wasn't it run by the states at the beginning of the union? Like, wasn't it?
So it's like states in theory had that power. Almost none of them exercised it. So like Castle Island in New York, they set up like a place that was kind of like a pre-Ellis Island. But basically in the 85 years before the feds took it over, the states deported on total, I've been able to count about 7,000 people total, and most of them actually to other states. So basically they shoved them all in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I want to apologize.
Hey, now we may have found a policy we can both support. Yeah, all right.
I support shoving everybody we don't want in Pennsylvania.
I want to apologize to the audience. Guys, this will have to be our last question, and you can come to the party and confront the debaters afterwards. Final question from the balcony. Take it away.
Thank you. The resolution references peaceful and healthy people. seemingly off the table that non-peaceful or non-healthy people may have the right to come here without restrictions. You, Alex, spoke to that a little bit, and you said they might have due process when they get here, so they'd be innocent until proven guilty, rather than, I guess, the way it is now, where you're saying they have to prove their innocence. I'm wondering how that would work, because, right, that process begins when a crime happens and an accusation is levied. And then there's due process for that, for the state or whoever, to prove that the crime occurred.
Is he arguing? Is it like preemptive criminal prosecutions? It's just like, what are we doing? We living in, what is it called, the Minority Report, where we decide people are criminals before they do anything wrong? What is that kind of logic? What is that? What he's arguing? Is that what he's asking?
I don't think, to me, that could happen very easily in a large-scale Ellis Island type setting where people are coming in and no accusations have been levied against them. So I'm wondering what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little practical concerns. Listen, one of the things that I think Dave and I probably agree on is we are very, very far from a libertarian world in practically every way, right? Now, there's lots of ways that we can imagine this stuff being done. You have one of the ways it was done before Ellis Island, actually, when criminals were barred, is that they usually look at like the manifests and basically just be like, hey, you're covered in face tattoos. The only people from Italy covered in face tattoos are criminals. We're just going to talk to you for a few minutes and check it out. You know, but there's lots of practicalities. But man, I spend a lot of time in DC talking with bureaucrats and politicians about these things. And I'm just looking forward to having a drink so we can talk about principles.
You know, I think that there's, okay, so one of the things that's kind of been interesting in this whole debate is that there just is this disconnect between how libertarians like to think about these things versus the reality of what we're living through. And I understand that in my heart of hearts, I really don't ever want to be advocating that the government do anything to anybody. But the idea that you're going to say you have due process for, and there's very different arguments here. Making the argument that you have due process for someone before they're deported from this country is a very different argument than saying that anybody from anywhere in the world, whether invited or uninvited, has some due process right, like as if they get the presumption of you're allowed to be here before they can be pushed away. Look, again, there's just no way to do this without having a dramatic increase. And then, look, I'll just say this. Do you know, this is one of the craziest.
What? Isn't he just advocating for, like, before they come in, that they look at and make sure that they are okay to come in? And if not, they just get kicked out? I don't know. I don't know what's. Yeah, I don't know what
it was a little bit because
Smith
the
is
fight was in the middle of
insinuating.
Joe Biden's administration. But we had record high border crossings under Joe Biden. And then we have record low border crossings right now under Donald Trump. And so much of that isn't even just like a policy change. It's just like what the president is saying, what the impression.
Well, no, so much of that is him going after immigrants. We not only have a record low immigration, we also have record low tourism. People don't want to come to America. People fear walking the streets. Yes, when you have a country that utilizes fear to control the people, yeah, people don't want to come here. It's pretty common sense. You think anybody wanted to go to Nazi Germany? You think anybody wants to go to Russia? Like, come on, bro. Like, it's not. Donald Trump is not doing anything to make the immigration process better. He's just making it harder. And then he's also making people afraid. That's all that's going on.
Is that the bat signal that goes out to the world? If we were to say right now that we have Alex's immigration policy, anybody can come, and actually the burden is on us to prove that you're sick or you're a terrorist or you're a violent, whatever that means, we're convicted of a violent crime once.
It's always been the burden on us. We always have to look into people before they come into the country. That's like always been a thing. What?
Are you being violent right now? Whatever exactly that means. I mean, you'd be sending out the bat signal to the world. This is why I was saying I'm not making an appeal to democracy or an appeal to popularity. I am making an appeal to reality.
No, you're not. You're not making no fucking appeal to reality. You're just speaking in narratives. You're speaking in like the bubbles that you frequent in that are regurgitating the same lame fucking talking points that don't actually make any goddamn sense.
And like, I just don't know if libertarians really appreciate how destabilizing this would
Dave,
be
could you
for our
start
society.
Could you start your 5 minutes with somebody?
Okay. All right, I'm done. I'm not wasting the closing statements. Dave Smith is a fake fucking libertarian. That's the conclusion I came out of here. Let me see what the comment says. I think the debate is simple. When Alex says we, he means everyone in the world. When Dave says we, he means Americans. No, that's a dumb interpretation of what the argument is. Because he's talking about libertarianism. So he's talking about the idea of individual liberty. Dave is talking about the government infringing on that liberty. Like, it looks like libertarianism is about to die, bro. Watching debate is like watching a sovereign citizen argue in a court. Debate was really, is America a nation of citizens or economic zone of random free individuals? No, it's not. These people are so dumb. Oh my, bro, sometimes I lose faith. Like, people's ability to comprehend information is like so bad. It's just so bad. My government, which steals from me, should be required to do what's in my interest as an American, not what's in the interest of non-Americans. Oh my God, bro. I like to see how these people feel when they're on vacation in Costa Rica and the government grabs them up to prove they're here legally because they don't speak the language. Due process would mean something then. It's just like the rationale and the points being made are so dog shit. And it really removes itself from the consistency of libertarianism. All these people in these comments that are making these type of points are not fucking libertarians. They are MAGA. And MAGA is authoritarian. They're the opposite of libertarian. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This whole entire conversation just proved that Dave Smith is not really a libertarian. And these motherfuckers that says in the interest as an American, that means you want the government to do have more power to instill things that you want. That's what it means. That's what it means. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm sub though. I like this Alex Nar. I'll be honestly, I'm gonna copy and paste. I might have to send him an email to see if he wants to come on the podcast. Because I found he was like way better in comparison to Dave Smith. He actually made libertarianism compelling in a way to, like, I guess me, who kind of understands what he's saying, but I still don't believe in libertarianism. But I would love to have him on the podcast and talk about libertarianism and see if he can kind of convince me to get on his side. I doubt it. I have pretty strong morals and values, but it'll be interesting. Oh, did I delete my guest list? I need to create a new guest list. Yeah, I accidentally deleted my guest list. Fuck. All right, guest list. Gotta create a new guest list. Start reaching out to people. All right. The hypocrisy is the point. No, I agree. I agree with the hypocrisy. It's definitely hypocritical that they want to be anti-due process. I'm there with you, Danielle. Don't you worry. But all right, I'm about to end it now. Appreciate everybody tuning in the stream. It wasn't going to be a long stream. I just was going to do a quick stream to talk about some stuff, look at Maxwell's thing, watch this debate because I found it interesting and it would be an interesting conversation. W stream, everybody tuned in. Appreciate you, of course. Leftist channel? Fuck no. I am definitely not a leftist. I am purple. Easiest way to depict me, I have my own individual values. I have my own individual morals. I hate people that are inconsistent, and I hate fake centrists. I hate MAGA, and I hate the far left, and I hate Tim Pool, and I don't like Dave Smith. So I'm very individualistic. Don't like Nick Fuentes. Don't like Andrew Tate. So I'm the real centrist, dare I say. But all right. That is all we got. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We are almost there to get monetized finally. Channel's finally about to get monetized. I'll try to stream tomorrow. Bear I have time to stream tomorrow. We'll see. But that's all I got. Y'all have a good one. Take care.